For Louisiana versus all y'all, Jarrett Roser here with 2027 Cecilia standout Franky Frank Jr., a guy that I saw one of a couple Cecilia guys at the end of their 8th grade year getting ready already to play notable roles with the Bulldogs this past fall as freshmen. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of that early success in Franky's high school career, as well as some of the work behind the scenes right now to keep taking those next steps as a high school player and as a college recruit. Franky, what's going on, man? Good to see you and appreciate your time.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. It's I know this is the start of a pretty exciting stretch. You'll be hitting some college camps here pretty soon. But let's start with kind of the journey to this point already as a guy that had a chance to be a big playmaker on a team that headed back to the Dome for the first time since 1995. Talk me through, I mean, what it was like to start high school and have opportunities, and what it took from you to be able to make an impact for your team right off the bat.
It was a lot of hard work behind the scenes. Me and my team put in a lot of work to get to the point where we was. We would have liked to win the game, but we're gonna be back soon. The work we do is it's a lot.
No doubt. Yeah, you guys have a lot of talent coming back. I was just writing for Prep Red Zone Louisiana, the kind of off-season look at who all was back and some notable names to watch. And so we'll talk more about kind of what that outlook is for fall as well. But did you expect going into to to high school, or I guess as a middle school guy, did you always have a feeling you would have a chance to be an early playing time type guy? When did you sort of realize that potential was there, and what was that like to realize, hey, I don't get a chance to really ease into this too much. There's going to be some expectations from me right off the bat.
Well, for junior high, I always was a playmaker. I always played every year. It was like a football was my life. It still is, and I knew once I got to high school, I had to put on my big boy pants and I had to show up for the coaches and see, get what they was expecting.
What were you most proud of in terms of what you brought to the table? I mean, we saw some of, even folks that just saw you guys in the Dome. They saw you make some plays on the ball. One where you kind of got up on a pogo stick. It looked like you got so high to break up a pass. What were areas for you that you felt really confident in which you were able to bring to the varsity team, or just kind of strong suits of your game early on?
My coverage was always my strong suit. Like I would knew they would probably throw to the other side because I would have everything on good on my side. Like I was could catch up for the slack in the secondary if we had any back then.
What were the biggest lessons for you this year in your first year in high school, and being a varsity guy right off the bat as a ninth grader, and being in some big spots? You guys made a historic run to get to the Dome and have a chance to compete for a state championship. What kind of stands out about your biggest takeaways or lessons that you learned from your ninth grade season and ninth grade year?
If you make a mistake, just keep going. Next play. If you make a mistake, just get over it because in my freshman year, I made a lot of mistakes, but Coach Gaines is always telling me to just keep pushing. It's going to be all right. Just keep going.
You had some great upperclassmen on the team, and a lot of them with that great 2025 class at Cecilia will be back with y'all this fall as well. What was it like for guys like you and Braylon Calais, and I mean even Braylon Jones, who was a sophomore this year, to kind of follow the footsteps of some guys like Diesel and Brent and Ellis, Bubba, et cetera? And I guess, you know, what were they like as leaders in terms of the way that they worked with y'all, pushed y'all, the stuff that y'all could learn from playing alongside them and competing with them?
They was all of them was great leaders and helping us get over. We had tough times, freshmen. We get fussed at, chewed out. You make mistakes, but they would just keep my head up, especially Brent. Brent taught me a lot my first year in high school.
And now you'll be preparing for sophomore year. And what is kind of the outlook for you this off season in terms of your work priorities you may have in terms of trying to take some next steps? You mentioned a confidence level already in your coverage skills overall. What are some things that right now you're hoping, hey, by the time we start this thing in the fall, we'll kind of see some strides or progress in your game, stuff that you're really hammering on this offseason?
My tackling, getting stronger. I've been working a lot, eating, getting bigger. I gained a lot of weight. I really need to work on my coverage is always all right. Could be better. I'm working on that too, but mostly my tackling.
Yeah. It's always going to be a little bit of everything, I guess, and some things kind of stand out a little bit more than others in terms of what that next step is. But obviously, you have big goals in mind, both at Cecilia and beyond, and so you want to continue to improve all over the place. How you mentioned kind of the nutrition side and hitting the weights and growing a little bit. Where are you at right now in terms of your weight dynamic and what we've seen you gain, I guess, this off season or since the first time I saw you a little bit over a year ago?
Beginning of spring last year, I think I was about 150. Now I'm sitting at 163, 165. I've been hitting the weights a lot. I go at almost every day, working out on the field. I got a trainer. I've been eating a lot.
Nice. You're a guy that I think I wrote it in the Prep Red Zone article. You were never shy about playing physically. It wasn't like you were afraid to go hit somebody, but have you noticed, I guess, in some of the opportunities this spring, having a little bit more size to you, do you notice the difference in terms of what you're doing in run support or I mean just closing out and tackling a guy in space?
Yeah, I've been making a lot of solo tackles. Like last year, I probably would have missed. Coach Gaines trusts even more than last year by my tackling, my covering ability. He keeps me on the field.
What is I guess kind of getting back to some of that the outlook for this fall, and you guys had a chance to come so close and then run into a team that y'all had seen earlier in the season and had beaten in a district game. What has the vibe been like around the team this offseason, knowing the capability that y'all have, I guess, and the amount of guys that are back from that team? Do y'all have any sort of mantras, or y'all talking about the goal being finishing that mission, or how are you kind of approaching some of that as a team and what the outlook is for 2024?
No mercy. We want to kill everything in front of us because we came up short and we don't want that to happen again.
Y'all as a team, you mentioned kind of what you learned as a freshman and being a in terms of your individual role and being a player and shaking off mistakes. What do you guys feel like you learned as a team from that journey and pushing back and getting to that stage and coming that close? What are some of the biggest takeaways that you guys talk about that you can kind of grow from that experience?
Climb the mountain is our new motto. We want to get back to that top and we want to win at the top. And we've learned a lot from them from the dome because we went that far but we lost. So we feel like the job isn't done and we want to go back.
You've had a chance. I mean, really, even before you got to high school, you'd had a chance to enjoy starting to get out to some colleges, some camps, and different events like that. That's obviously been a big part of this off season for you as well. I've seen you make a couple stops along the way, get a chance to chat with some coaches, learn a little bit more about some of these programs, and just kind of build some of those relationships. What has that part of it been like for you so far? Some highlights early on for you getting a chance to see some of these campuses and meet some of these coaches as a young guy.
It's been real good. A lot of coaches being nice to me and reaching out to me and inviting me to their place for me to look at it. They camps. I've been getting a lot of exposure. A lot of coaches reaching out. Tulane was really nice. It was you brought me there. It was a nice experience. The coach he invited me back to spring practice. I went. It's been nice. Like,
Yeah, I know you were really impressed with Tulane, I guess, and even when you went to go see Tulane, they had a lot of construction going on and stuff like that, and so they were a little bit of a work in progress. But that's a school that has obviously competed at a high level in football in recent years and check some academic boxes for you, a guy who has a lot to your resume as a not just an athlete but a student athlete. What has I mean, tell me some more about Tulane and what has stood out about them. You mentioned a couple stops already this spring. You'll be camping there in the next couple of days. What about the Green Wave has stood out to you so far that has made them be kind of an early factor in your recruiting process?
Like when I got there, it just felt like home. Like everybody greeted me, all the coaches introduced me to this. Well, you introduced me to them, but it just felt like home. Like, and everybody welcomed me there. And then they invited me back to the spring practice. It was really nice. My first one I went to. It was a nice experience.
So you'll be back uptown on Friday. What else does your summer hold? How much have you had a chance to kind of sort through the schedule of maybe some other stops that are in the plans? Who are other places that those coaches and fans should expect to see you on campus soon?
Oh, I have a lot, like a lot. Tulane, I think Houston, Alabama, UL. I got invited to UL. The coach sent me an invitation, and Tulane invited me too. I'm looking at a lot of camps. SMU too. I'm gonna go back to SMU a lot. I got a lot in store for this summer.
What do you hope you're able to accomplish in some of those stops in terms of when a camp wraps up for the weekend and the coaches leave and are talking about who stood out or talking about having had a chance to put eyes on you and what their takeaway was? Who do you hope those coaches are walking away saying, okay, this is what we saw from Franky Frank? What do you hope that kind of lasting impression is that you're getting a chance to make?
I hope it's a great impression. I want them to know I'm a hardworking person. I will. Oh, I can play anything on the field. You can move me around anywhere. I'll do that. And I just want them to know like my name. I want them to invite me back, know who I am, come see me play. Yeah, that's about it.
You mentioned the work ethic. We talked some about the school side of things too. You're a guy that from a young age has carried yourself with a level of maturity and wanting to, I mean, be on top of all your own stuff, handling your business, planning, all of these things. Where does all that come from? Have you always, I mean, from a young guy, always been kind of like that, and kind of what do you attribute that to? Just, I guess I want to give you an opportunity for sure to talk about your support system. You got some great family around you and everything, but just kind of tell me some of that background of your personality and growing up and what has gone into making you that type of a young man right now.
My mama, everything I goes out to my mama. If she see me in the bed one day, she'll tell me I'm lazy, mess with me, get me out of bed, push me to go work. She pays for almost everything. I'm in the bed. She puts me in the position I am today. If I didn't have her, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, shout out to mom for sure. I mean, parents involved. Your aunt and grandpa have been there for you along the way. I know have
They
seen
came to
them
Miami.
and
Yeah. They was in Miami with us.
so I asked you about what you hope coaches get a chance to learn about you with this camp process. For college fans, whether it be Tulane early on as we continue to kind of talk about some of that connection there with that program, or really fans of any college or just Louisiana football fans that are getting a chance to know you more this year and through the years, what do you hope they know about you beyond just being a talented young football player, but as a young man and what you can be as a part of not just a football team, but a football program and a school community?
I'll bring a lot to the plate. Like besides football, I'm a character. Like if you see me in the street, I'll take a picture with you if you want anything. And once I commit, it's like I want that place to be my new home. So I'm gonna meet a lot of people, friends, some family.
What are you looking for as and look, we're still early on in this process for you, and so you have a long way to go before you have to make a decision. Right now, we're still just kind of learning a lot and getting a feel for a lot of these places, but you've been to enough stops to have some sense of it, of kind of what you're looking for when you go visit a campus or see some facilities or have a conversation with a coach. What are you looking for in a place that can be your next home in 3 years?
I just look to be welcome, feel at home. Like when I get there, I mainly could see if I like the place or not. I like a lot of colleges. the coaches. They reach out to me sometimes. I like it. And they
Good deal.
like the facilities, like the weight rooms and locker rooms. I like seeing stuff like that and like the extra stuff outside of football. Like,
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that stuff over the next few years, and then obviously beyond. Franky, I appreciate you again taking some time on a Wednesday afternoon to kind of catch up and let folks know a little bit more about you and whatnot. I don't think it's going to be the last time you're on the Louisiana Versus All Y'all channel.
appreciate you too. Thank you for having me.
You got it, man. Again, he's Franky Frank Jr., one of those 2027 standouts at Cecilia High. The Bulldogs were back in the state championship game this past December for the first time since 1995. They're aiming to get back and finish that mission this year in the fall of 2024. And Franky's got a lot going on as well, just kind of starting to sort out some of these college opportunities and get a chance to get on more and more radars and make those impressions this summer on some college camps and visits. And for Louisiana Versus All Y'all, Jared Roser. Thank you again, Franky.
Appreciate you. We will be back.